All right, we are going to do our CSS battle. May have played with this one a little bit. I do have a non-matching score, but we're going to try it a few different ways potentially. Let's see. We're going to be very obvious about what we're doing the first time. We're going to use non-CSS Battle techniques mostly. We're going to set the background of the HTML to whatever plum color that is. I don't know. The body, we're just going to reset the margin on for now. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to have a div. That div is going to look like one of these little ghosty guys. I'm going to give it a G. So now, where does this need to be? It can be, I think, here. So attribute selector, background red, height 10 pixels. We just want to see if we can see a thing. There is the thing that we can see. Perfect. Now let's make its background the correct color. And its height is going to be something like, I don't know, 80 pixels. May or may not be right. For our divs, we're going to say position fixed. Could use absolute, but we're going to use fixed. Which means now we need to give it a width of, I don't know what it is, 50. Not wide enough. 80, maybe. We're going to put the top of it at 50. And we're going to say left of, I don't know, 150. Let's go ahead and load our extension. Okay, top is too much. Try 40, try 35. Left isn't enough. Let's do 160. Okay, that's correct. Now we're going to say border radius. It's going to be 0, 0, 9 inch, 9 inch. Just use 9 inch as something big. You don't have to have the right thing if you're going to overdrive it like that. It's going to be its whatever maximum value it can be. So there's our first of those things. Now, obviously, we need more of those things. So we're going to create some more. So now we have 4 of them. How do we want to select the rest of them is the question. Can I use... no. Let's try this. Let's try sibling div. Nope, that's not how you write it. Sibling div. Background red. No. Well, maybe. Might still be working. Top 100. No, it's not working. It's not a child. I don't know. I don't know a good way to select that, so I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to give it A, B, C. And then I'll say A, rotate 90 degrees, top 150, 20, 110, left 200, and 30, 5. And then we'll select B. We'll say rotate 180 degrees, top 200, too much, 180, 5. And then we'll say C. We're going to rotate. I can do minus 90 degrees, or we can do 270. It doesn't matter. Top is going to be 110, and left is going to be, I don't know, 8, 5. Okay, there's the ghosts. Now we have to do the X. To do the X, we're going to use a couple more divs. This one's not going to be G, but it's going to be X because it's an X. And then we're going to have a div X D. All right, let's see if we can get div X selected here. And to show up on screen, we're going to say height 10 pixels. Width is, I don't know, 200 pixels. Is it showing up? No. It doesn't have a background. Background is going to be this yellow color. There it is. Top is going to be 80, 75 maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll get closer in a minute. Left is going to be 100. Rotate is going to be 45 degrees. All right, now top needs to be more, like 10, 120, 130, not 1331, 40. That actually looks pretty close to right. Although, where's going? Oh, that was me hovering. Okay. And then we need, what do we call the other one? D. And we're going to rotate minus 45 degrees. Is that a match? I don't know. Took us about 7 minutes. That is indeed a match. All right. So if we were going to optimize that right now, if we just minify, we're going to be at 427 characters. We're at 720. Can we clean this up? Yeah, there are a bunch of params in here where we used, or properties rather, where we use pixel values where we don't need to. Height and width, it's not mandatory, so we can just get rid of those. Border radius, it is, yes, it is required to use a dimension. Okay. That is all of those. So let's minify, submit, critify. All right, so we have a score of 607. This is a fine way to do this. In fact, this particular target, the X in the middle, is quite challenging to do in a consistent way. Yeah, it's quite challenging to do. So, what are we going to do to improve this? So the X in the middle. I wonder if I can use the body for that. It's going to be a pain. Because the other stuff's going to be bigger than the body. But let's see what we can do. All right, let's start again. This time, let's focus on getting the X in the middle done in a somewhat intelligent way. So we have our style statement. We need to use, we're going to use an ampersand selector to select the HTML. We're going to give it a background of brown. We're going to use a star selector to select the body. I'm going to put an outline on the body for now. It's going to be 1Q solid red. There we see it. I'm curious as to whether or not I can use a conic gradient for the X. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with that idea. Background, conic gradient. There is another guy whose name I'm blanking right now. Joe Crawford is his name. He's like a master at conic gradients. He has a channel and does these daily as well. He's really, really good at conic gradients. But I'm going to be really bad at it and kind of explain it in every little bit that I don't always do all the time. One of the things I often do with gradients because I can't get them to work is just make something work. So I just do red, blue. Now I have a conic gradient. Now it's working. Now I can change little stuff and keep it working mostly instead of trying to troubleshoot it from zero. So in this case, I want my conic gradient to go from transparent to this yellow color. Now, I want it to be 75% transparent and 25% yellow color because that makes a box. And I'm going to use my conic gradient to make boxes. They're going to be skinny boxes that look a lot like lines, but they're basically boxes. As a CSS battle hack, instead of saying 25%, you can just say 0 there. It doesn't care. It's going to finish it. So that saves you some characters. Now, we need our box to be 10 pixels tall and 200 pixels wide. So we're going to say at 200 pixels, 10 pixels, comma, and that gives us a line that is 10 pixels down from the top, which cuts our background, our gradient off at 10 pixels, so it makes it that wide. And then it's 200 or 10 pixels tall and 200 pixels wide. Now, what I don't know is whether or not I can get that to rotate. I can. So that's good. Now I know that. Now I need to try to put this kind of in the center. And wait, have I done this wrong? I've done this completely wrong. Yeah, I've done this completely wrong. Have I? Yeah. All right. It's a cool conic gradient. It's not the one I want. We're going to do another conic gradient. This one, however, is going to be a yellow background with brown. No, they can't. Oh, in this case, they can be brown boxes because I'm using the body. I can use brown boxes. Now I'm thinking about how I want to do this. Yeah, I think I want a yellow background with brown boxes. So we're going to do a conic gradient from yellow to brown. Yep. Now it's going to be different. It's not going to be 210. It's going to be like at 90 pixels, 90 pixels. And then we need some percentages on these, 75% and 0. So now I have a brown box in my yellow background square rectangle, which is what I think I want for a minute. I'm going to margin this in some. Margin, I don't know what it's going to be. 70 and 110. Not right, but getting somewhere close. Okay, now I want to force this brown box to repeat. Now it's not going to be able to repeat in the space that I have allowed right now at that size, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's just get something happening. So I'm going to say 0 and 0 for the height and width offsets. And then I'm going to say 100 pixels, 100 pixels to get it to repeat. Now I've made kind of the cross thing that I was going for, which is good. I wanted that sort of cross thing. Now we're going to have to work on margins a little bit and then position this thing where we want it. So it needs more top and bottom margin, 75 maybe. And it needs more side margin, 125 maybe. And then it's a little bit big, so let's make this 70 and 70. And then let's make our repeat a little less, so 80 and 80. Now we have exactly the wrong cross, but we do have a cross there. Let's try rotate. There is our cross. It's just not big enough now. Okay, so that's just a margins game that we already know how to play. We've learned to play it. So we can make this 80, nope, 60, and 15. That's not going to be big enough. We can see that already. So let's take it the other way. Now that might be, I can't tell which is which. That's not quite big enough. So let's try 50 and 100. That probably is big enough. Now we need to fix our internal grid thing that we have. So maybe 90 and 90 was right. So now we have the size bigger than the repeat, so we're seeing nothing. So let's go back to 100. Okay, we're close, but incorrect. Let's try 95 and 95. And then 105 and 105. That doesn't look awful. That doesn't look awful. I wonder. No, I don't. I can do this on the background, but I'm going to have repeat troubles, which is by being able to margin it into the body. That saves some troubles that I would have by having it in the HTML. All right, so we have the cross. We would have to remove that. Oh, I wonder if that's going to be a problem. That could be a problem. Even though I turned my outline off, I'm still seeing the edge of the gradient repeat there. That could that could be an issue. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right, now I'm going to have a paragraph tag. So I need it in the DOM. I am not position fixed, but I still need a height for my paragraph. Let's make it 50 pixels for now. And it's rotated, which causes all kinds of interesting fun. Let's minus 45. Okay, now it doesn't have a width. There it is. Background, red. There is the thing. If I say 0, it's going to stay rotated with the body, which is not what I want. So minus 45 it is. All right. Let's go ahead and make the background color correct. And height's 100. Width is 100. None of those are right. Border radius 0, 0, 9 inch, 9 inch. And then margin 0. That's not that terrible. Just too big. Just. 90, 80. 80. Then margin 10, 0. Nope. 20. Nope. 20. 0. Positioning things that have been rotated always just 0 fun. 0, 0, 0 fun. It makes no sense. Okay, so when I do that, it's moving down and right. Does this make any difference? -5. It pushes the whole thing off. 5. That makes no difference. All right, let's try something here. That's position fixed. And then instead of this fund, top 0 -50 -150. Okay, see which way it's moving. Left 0 -50. Now we're getting close again. That was not what I wanted. Okay, let's go there. All right, now we're close. 695, 44, 40. Close. Very close. That probably is a match. And not proud of it, but it is probably a match. All right, another paragraph tag, another paragraph. We're going to rotate. What's it going to be? 100, I don't know, -135 degrees is going to be the next logical rotation, but I don't like having the negative there, so I'm just going to do it that way. That's going to get me the bottom one. Or I could just do the 45-degree one. Let's do that one. We're going to say top 100, left 50. Okay. 150 and 50 minus. Getting closer. 5-ish. Wrong way. 35's close. 10, 15, 30, nope. 42, 5, 17. It's pulling it that way. 43, 42. That's close. That's worse. Slightly worse. Worse. That's pretty close. All right, let's do it 2 more times. All right, so plus P, rotate 135 degrees, top 0, left 0. All right, let's push it down and that way. So 50, 20, pulling it that far, okay. 40, 60, 70, and then this needs to be more, 20. Nope, needs to be less. 0, 10, 12, 15. Getting close. That's probably as close as I'm going to get. And this is just a lot of pixel pushing today, sorry. Rotate 135 plus 90 is 225. Top minus 43. Left minus 100. Of course not. 63? Nope. I thought it would match something. That would make sense, wouldn't it? There we go. And is this going to be minus 93? Yes. Okay. All right. There we have a match, I think. Let's check. Let's see. It'll probably give me 99% after all that. It's 99%. Perfect. Let's try a little trick. Back in failed. Let's try again. 94. That looks worse. So I have no way of knowing what the problem is. I just know it's not a match. I suspect that it's the line that you can see here going around the X. Can I get away with some cheating on that? I don't know. 49 makes it worse. 51, 101. Maybe that getting rid of two of the lines will make it pleased. Nope, made it worse. Interesting. Oh yeah, it did make it worse. Okay. Hmm. Can I fix it though? Do these become fives? Nope. Ones. One and five. So threes become ones. Not that one. There we go. And then this is stupid. Still probably not good enough. Nope. 99.9 though. Let's try putting these back. Now it's off again. Yeah, don't know exactly what to do about that. Don't know exactly what to do about that. So we have a match. We have a terrible score of 419. I have some better ways to do the ghosts. There's a trick you can do with some different element types to get the angle to continue. One of the guys that I talked to about CSSBattle, he's really good at doing that and seeing how that works. I was hoping I could get a somewhat concise version of the X, and I have not been able to accomplish that so far, because I think that's the problem. Pretty sure that the ghosts are not the problem. So, for now, I'm leaving it there. I may play with this a little bit more. Maybe there'll be a video, maybe there won't. Anyway, the the gradient I knew was going to be tricky at getting the X happy. I didn't think it was going to be the lines on the edges that made it hard. Yeah, I didn't think that's what was going to be the problem. Let's put it back where it was. I mean, that version of it is the one that makes the most sense, right? It has numbers like you would expect. Although we could try a couple little tricks. I'm gonna try a couple little tricks before I go on. 95 pixels is about 100.5 Q, so let's try 100 Q. 100 Q. It looks awful. 105 pixels is 111 Q. Yep, 111 Q. Probably still not going to work. I mean, there's definitely some noise. Yeah, 99.7 still. There's definitely some noise you can see in the diff. And it's on the edge, which is really interesting. It's right at the repeat. It's right at the repeat where its edge is just poking through, the edge of the gradient's just poking through. I wonder, yeah, I'm going to quit recording myself because this is just going to be me exploring. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.